Welcome, Dr. Joseph Martin. Our topic for our open discussion today is a turning point in our perfect social storm. A turning point in our perfect social storm of the ending of one civilization and the beginning of yet another new one. Now, how am I best qualified to speak to this particularly central issue in our lives, personally and globally? Well, the truth is, I've known this was coming since I was about 5 years of age, and I've had lots of conversations with lots of people, Nostradamus in particular. However, being First Nations myself, being Mohawk, my name is Donna Galenkwa, means he who lives in two worlds. I have taken it upon myself to speak to as many Indigenous elders in the three Americas and worldwide, including the Aborigines and the Maori in New Zealand and many others, to find out what the prophecies and the understanding and the wisdom is concerning this changing of the turning point of this age that we're in now. So I, in fact, spoken to thousands of Indigenous elders and gone into my own internal wisdom as an Indigenous man here in Canada. As well as that, I'm a biologist, a botanist, I'm a medical anthropologist, I'm a psychologist, and an historian, and I have spent my entire life researching this one particular issue, as well as the fact that I've taken upon myself to learn all the skill sets that I know I need to know in terms of surviving in the bush. I've lived in a teepee alone for a year in the middle of a Canadian winter. When I was in my 20s, I have lived off the grid for 13 years in a log cabin with just a windmill and getting my own water and my own food supplies. I've had 3 farms and did organic farming in the 1970s. So understand about 0 mile food supply and gardening and the need to have my own wood for being off the grid if the electricity goes off, and just being able to heat and also cook with wood. I looked into solar as well. And my background is also in homeopathy, Ayurvedic medicine, naturopathy, and all the traditional herbal remedies that our Indigenous peoples have used for tens of thousands of years. Because what is available now probably will not be, one, available in the coming 10 years from now, and two, sustainable, will not be sustainable. And here I'm speaking about expecting food from other sources outside of your local community or water, and certainly the pharmaceuticals may not be able to be brought to you in the way that you need. So a need to go back and find the own herbal remedies, homeopathic and indigenous as well. Now, let's just talk about why we need to do this. So the thing is, what can we expect to happen in the next 5 or 10 years on the planet? Where will we be with all this? Where will it lead us? What can we expect to happen in terms of all the environment, climate, transportation, food supplies, medicines, and all these kinds of things? And what can we do about this in order to create a sustainable living lifestyle for our community, for our family? What can we do about our finances and our economy? Will that change for us? And I know for a fact that all of us are experiencing a great change in the income and the finances, and we have great concerns which we need to sort out. There are lots of things to talk about. This is an introductory video for the entire issue. Now, it's all very hopeful, of course. We will get through this, but we need to know what the issues are and what the major questions are, and how we can find the answers and the pragmatic support or supplies or education for surviving and thriving through this great turning point of our social times. So these are all the issues that we will be looking at in this. Now, I know every single person listening to this is going to be interested and will need to take some pragmatic steps. I would suggest, first of all, you get the big overview of what is going on. And secondly, what you need to learn in terms of skill sets and educate yourselves. And so you will be able to participate in a very hopeful and positive way with a lot of joy. And thirdly, link up with others in your community or your local tribe, as we say in the new way, to find the support, the services, and the products, and the sharing of food and water and clothing and housing and all the things that you will need in the coming years. There's no question that this will be a dramatic shift in the way we live our lifestyles. Doesn't need to be traumatic, but it definitely will be dramatic. Well, there have been people from the Western world and from the indigenous world, people who've had, like myself, who I'm a futurist, I'm a visionary. I've been speaking about this to my friends for, oh gosh, 55 years now. So this is not new to me. I have absolute courage and joy and happiness in sharing this with you and looking forward finally to the great change when the consciousness is awakening, and it will be a huge wake-up call and a beneficial one for all of us. And so I'm happy to share all my knowledge and wisdom with you, knowing that you will derive great gratitude out of it, but also pragmatic skills in all of this. We will have further programs on our website about this that you may want to look into. Check it out. Okay, now what are the indigenous sayings about all this? What do they say? Well, in our Mohawk way, the Ganyangaaga way, and the Haudenosaunee way, we've known for at least 600 years, if not longer, from the sayings of many of our great leaders and visionary prophets like Tegonawida, who actually in our way is an incarnation of the Christ consciousness. He has said, that this would happen, that these white-skinned invaders would come, and they would build roads in a certain way that would let us know that they were here to take over our land and resources and get rid of our peoples in such a way that, given that as an actuality now after 500 years, we know what the outcome is. It's the writing's on the wall. We all live it, in fact, whatever your background or skin color. By the way, there's no judgment in this. We're just in this situation together. We just need to take some action, do something positive and hopeful here for all the betterment of all of us. We say not until the last clean drink of water or glass of water is gone from the earth and all the waters have been polluted, water being the prime, one of the main 7 natural resources that are essential for human life. Water's the first one to go by the wayside that we can't live without for more than 2 or 3 days. So when all the last clean water is gone, because we know it's toxified and there's chemicals in it that are cancer causing and so on, and then people will hit the wall, so to speak, and they'll be aware that, oh gosh, as typical with human nature and our species, we don't make many great major changes until we all hit the wall together. So the lack of clean drinking water will be the first big kind of wake-up call, and that's already here. There are other things like sun flares and so on, and electrical power outages, which are major in major parts of our continent, for instance, and all kinds of other things we can get into, include bacteriological and viral kinds of infections and diseases, and of course, as we know in Canada, lots of floods and or droughts in the prairies and earthquakes and so on. And all these things are just part of what is going on to support the social chaos through our turning point. And we're so happy it's finally here because we get to do something positive about it. We also know that this will be a great re-indigenization of the consciousness of all people. What does this mean? It means that everybody will go back to the earth in the sense of thinking of the earth mother herself as being a sacred living being, and all living things, rocks, plants, trees, animals, and birds and fishes and so on. So in the respect of this one healing circle, one heart, one circle, one drum of all our relations, we can see that it's a new way of setting a whole new set of consciousness, a new set of values, a new set of attitudes that are more all-inclusive, and how to do with equality for all living beings and species. This in itself is the major consciousness that needs shifting before we can make the changes on the ground to how we live in community and we support one another with our food, our water, our Services are talents and skills. Not every one of us has the same set of skills. I have ones that no one else has, but you have lots that I don't know anything about. And we have to come together so we have a full set of skills where we can all support each other as a community. This is, again, a prophecy of the indigenous peoples that we need and we must do this in order for our species to survive. The local community, this is very important. The reevaluation of the beauty and the need to sustain all our relations. There are many more prophecies that I have learned from the elders over the last 50, 60 years. Many of them already passed, so there's no need to talk about them. But the great Hopi elders that I worked with and were part of all the sweat lodges that I've done, they say this: we are the ones that we've been waiting for. We are the ones that have to take this to heart, take this in hand, do something practical, learn the skills, share in community, and the time of the lone wolf is over. I'm sure this is old hat to many people, but we do have to come together in the circle, the sacred circle, heal with one another, support one another, and have a lot of joy and happiness. There's a great global consciousness going on at this time. It's the joy and happiness of finally we're here. Finally we can get to do this. Finally we get to co-create and no longer be victims of a higher order and politics and so on that we're self-interested. Now we get to finally find our own freedom and take charge of our own lives and empower ourselves in every level. First of all, spiritually, emotionally, psychologically, in community, in our arts and our culture, and how we can support each other through music and joy, and also food preparation, drying of food, storing of food, heritage seeds, many, many, many things. All of this, and take charge of our own economy. The finances is another whole issue, but we need to create local financial support with maybe our own kind of currency as the dollar falls. And of course it will fall. The American dollar will be worthless, just like the Zimbabwe dollar is already, and we need to act locally to sustain ourselves. Of course, we will link up with a network of other star local communities around the globe and support each other. Well, that's about it for now. Just want to say that we can and will create a sustainable future, and the social storm will emerge into a new sphere, a new system, a new quantum level of higher consciousness, which will be the social storm of greater sustainability and sacredness of all life. So it's the social sacredness that is coming to consciousness. Every human being matters, every animal, every plant, tree, and rock and mineral. We will share it all. This is not just an ideal, it's a necessity, and it is coming into being. I hope you'll be willing to co-participate and lend a hand and share all your skill sets, learn lots of new educational skill sets, and from an open heart of just selflessness and service and joy and fun and play and laughter, create something much better for all of ourselves, but especially yourself, your family, your community, and all your loved ones, your pets, and so on. So until next time, this is Joseph Martin, Dr. Joseph Martin, saying, have fun with it all. Educate yourselves, take full self-responsibility for your lives. More good news to come that I will share with you. Love to hear from you anytime. Love and blessings, inwards, onwards, upwards to a much greater future. All joy.